Okay, so Joyce has gone up the coast, and we gotta go find her, because she's got my money. Oh, speaking of my money. Yeah, we can finally start exploring, so I actually can get some cash. Speaking of cash, I've got oh no, I thought I had 13 bucks. No, I got 7 bucks. That's less cool than I thought it was going to be. Well, we got some goodies over here, so let's go check this out. I like exploration. I'm probably going to explore before I start talking to anybody, but that's okay. Traffic beyond the gate. More abandoned motor lorries. Hello. Jamrock biker cop sunnies. Extra empathy, reduced logic. Sign says no entry. Someone scribbled an inverted star on it. Huh. I forgot I can zoom out really hard. Seems worthwhile. Someone's broken down the fence and the barbed wire. I'm investigation cop. Is there a thing? I will look at it. Is it relevant? No, it's still relevant. The swing is missing. No one's been here for a long time. Rust peels off the bent iron post of the swing. The wind whistles through the skeleton in the small house behind you. There's desolation everywhere. What happened here? In this yard, the lieutenant looks at the small building. A flock of gray swallows takes off in the distance. He's assessing the situation. How long ago it was abandoned? Someone thought they could have a summer house in a block obscure for cheap. It didn't work out. They abandoned it about a decade ago. So this part of the coast is a block obscure? Practically, it's not an official term in any way. He spreads his arms. Look around. No sewage, broken power lines, crime, drunks. Life is tough in the blocks, but it's no place to build a summer house. Maybe they left something useful behind. Yes, for you to scavenge, like a post-apocalyptic scavenger who collects trash and an errant magnesium blisters. He gives you a weary smile. It's not meant as nagging, just an observation. We should move. I don't think our suspect's in this particular yard. No place to hide, and besides, it's too close to Martinez. Freaking scavenger cop. Could find everything. Glory, says the graffito. To the ghosts of us. I'm gonna have so much magnesium. I wonder if I could actually resell it somewhere. Someone's left their music collection beneath the tarpaulin. Oh, actually. Music collection. Smallest church in St. Saëns. Hell yeah! We've been looking for that for a while. Birds in the birch tree, barely audible coos come from above. Alright, time to destroy our mind. Okay, we've got the boombox. Let's equip the boombox. Oops. Put this to play tapes. Items. Interact. Oh, fractured bullet. Bullet mushroomed out on impact. Now looks more like a fanciful jacket button than something that could pierce skin, flesh, and bone. The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label with the bag on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. Besides his orderly handwriting, the bullet looks especially sad, like a tiny shriveled head of cauliflower. What do I do with you, bullet? What? The lieutenant steps closer. I said, what do I do with you, bullet? Well, if I was the bullet, which I'm not, I'd say find the weapon that shot me. Good idea. If we find who owns it, we'll have likely found who used it, possibly a killer victim. In conclusion, the more we know about this bullet, the better. Feel the bullet through the bag. Squash bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket is split open and feels cold even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The Citizens Militia uses cast bullets only, little pebbles of metal, loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge. Feel the bullet through the bag. No. Inspect the bullet closer. The jacket of the bullet is made of yellowish metal. It's blossomed out to reveal a dark gray core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. Look at the jacket. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear, feel standard. And the core? It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound. What can you say about the bullet so far? It's a jacketed bullet close to 5 millimeters in diameter. A jacketed bullet, okay. It would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzle-loader like those typically found in the streets of Martinez. highly unusual. The people of Revachol haven't carried breech-loading weapons like this for nearly half a century. Even the RCM uses ordinary, unjacketed conical bullets. This is strange. Very strange. I like this, officer. Strange means unique. Unique means incriminating. We need to find the gun that shot it. Something tells you that won't be anytime soon. This will have to be one of those epic tasks that's open for a while. Try to determine what type of weapon shot this. A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46mm from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or retrofitted antique. The .446 caliber is widely used with the Belle Margrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulidian Theater of the Anticentennial Revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you, the dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit this chamber. Is anyone still making these rifles? No, but Ziegler, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there's still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Who uses Belle Margrave rifles these days? Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache, only in working order. Huh. The lieutenant jots something down in his notebook. What are you thinking, bullet? I think I know where this came from. Dangle the bag thoughtfully. Okay, and? Shot probably came from a Belle Margrave rifle. An antique, that makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Revachol. Really. Why not? Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end. Prohibiting peacetime law enforcement to front-loaded rifles is a policy enforced by the Moralist International and all of the nations in the Real Belt. Makes you consider every shot. I like it. Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, the third, and so on. Much easier. But back to investigations. Seems we're looking for an antiques enthusiast. Doesn't really seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself. The tape you found from a shack on the coast. The A side is the smallest church of St. Sands written on it, while the B side is supposed to contain the instrumental version. Requires a boombox to play. Quarter reel is just what you needed. The reel is attached to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader. Press play on the tape. You press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing. Fair warning, this might also be copyrighted, so you guys might not hear anything. I apologize. Press your ear against the speaker. It sounds like someone's moving in the room, getting comfortable. Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune. Echoing in the hallway, a lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in St. Sands, surrounded by an even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. Within seconds, you know, this is the one, the real shit you've been looking for. The one you trashed your room to, that Colossia told you about. Perform it. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops playing. Did I sing this for karaoke? I think I could sing this. Of course you could sing this. You could take sad to a whole new level with this. And you already know the lyrics since you've listened to it like a million times. Yep, they're all there. All 3 verses. And the B-side of the tape contains the instrumental version. It's like the world itself is telling you to do it. Only one obstacle stands in your way. What? Gart. You have to convince Gart to let you sing karaoke in the whirling. After you've won him over, you can express yourself. Let the pain out. Make everyone understand. The lieutenant looks at you as you remove the tape from the boombox. He doesn't say anything. Well, I should probably put the boombox away. I'm not a big fan of the, I'm not a big fan of the music that that plays. Let's go back to Crowbar Cop. I look slightly more intimidating. Slash, like, maybe there's a certain point where I have to defend myself, and having a crowbar on hand, or a bag of bottles, either of those might actually be kind of remotely useful compared to certain other things. I mean, wire cutters would make a decent torture tool, but harder to fight with them. Breaker box to power the radio pylon above you. Maybe there's something inside. Ahead, decades-old concrete defenses. Children play on them now. Oh. A creaking ahead. A broken axle grinding. A bottle, drained of all its booze, is frozen to the ice. That's it, the scene of the party. The fire pit, cigarettes and empty bottles, all evidence of it. Hold up, don't you mean the scene of the crime? Not as such, I'm talking about what came after, the party scene. Yeah, it sure does look like a lot of folks partied here. Looks like they're here for a while, judging from all the bottles. The sudden sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture, or a chocolate fountain. Kim, looks like we had a couple of partygoers here. Looks like it. This is some kind of theater to them. A circus production by a great clown. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and nods. Hey, let's keep moving, detective. Somehow he doesn't want to dwell on it. Well, let's pick up my money. This is my car. I know it. Well, we can get a banged up fuel canister. And let's save before we talk to this thing. A banged up motor carriage. I'm trying to even figure out... Oh, we're looking at the backside, aren't we? A banged up motor carriage lies half submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulidian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and engine remain visible. It must be cold and lonely down there in the icy water. The seawater has already started to corrode the metalworks. Carriage in the sea, where'd this come from? My guess is it started its journey from the plaza, where it backed through the fence. Let's investigate, Kim. I agree, the lieutenant replies, a curious look in his eyes. We should definitely investigate. You get a sudden sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. Oh, I was right. Run your hand over the cold metal. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. A single day in the salty seawater would ruin most vehicles. But this one looks worn even in places the salt water hasn't touched yet. What's the make of this, MC? Can I see a logo? Logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by. How long has it been here? The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. He leans forward to peek into the cold water. I guess it's just been here since last Saturday or Sunday. The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred Sunday evening. Oh, wow. Looks like Jacob Sure, whatever. Well. Looks like Jacob IRW's journey came to an abrupt end here. Your mocking tone finds no response, but the motion of the waves. Enough gloating. This is serious. Okay, yes, quite. The lieutenant seems to be inspecting you more closely than the motor carriage. What should we do? Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside. Great idea. Then we can get the things inside. The Joyrider must have left something good inside. Guns, papers, maybe a cool jacket. A Joyrider jacket? How long will it take for the low tide to come in? I don't know. An hour or two tops. Sit on the swing and wait for the tide to recede. As you sit down on the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. The hinges creak under your weight, dangerously so. Nothing but the sound of seagulls, high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea. Whistle a tune. The tune on your lips forms a strange, yet undeniably beautiful contrast with the surrounding bleakness. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance, then, still looking straight ahead, he joins you with a higher-pitched and slightly more melodic trill. Two birds on a wire, whistling by the seaside, looking at the water and a sunken car. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. 30 minutes have passed. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion. Would you rather sit on an anthill for an hour, or stand in a river of leeches? Well, the lieutenant rubs his chin. Historically, leeches have been used to prevent and even cure many ailments. Okay, he's thinking, I can do this. Let's do this. Who'd want to sit on an anthill? There's no therapeutic benefits to. Well, napalm ants, for example, are used in some rites of passage rituals. Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing keeps climbing. You heard the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass. You had to side with either the strikers or the shipping company. Who'd you choose? Luckily, I'm already a member of an independent organization, and therefore do not have to choose between a rock and a hard place. But if someone puts a gun to your head... Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass. Can you make out the mark now? Detective, I've been able to make out the mark ever since we arrived. I find it odd that you haven't. It's a Capri, Model 40. His eyes turn to you. Yes, why haven't you? It's a simple and rugged machine, favored by working men, government offices... He pauses to think, firefighters, animal control people, you know, those kinds of people. Squint your eyes and say, is that a number on the side? Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for? It's as if he knows what it stands for, but he wants you to say it. It's... pedagogical. Does he know something about the driver of this vehicle? Oh, God, no. I really did call it! I'm sorry, Harry. I'm so sorry. 41. Precinct 41. A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry. No. No. Yes, your car's in the sea. Face it, so we can start dealing with this. Oh my God, it's mine. I drove my car into the sea. I'm afraid, yes. It looks like you drove your police motor carriage into the sea after you jumped across the canal. Things were going so well. We were just whistling merrily. You can still whistle, the lieutenant says with a smile. Besides, the night is always darkest before the dawn. At least we have a pretty good suspect. If we find your motor carriage in the sea, maybe we'll find her too. Maybe I was in pursuit of someone? Of whom? The lieutenant looks skeptical. I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk. Probably, try definitely. How do we get it out? Detective, he says almost gently, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point. It's just gonna be there like that? I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. He looks around. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but the overall machine is a write-off. They're not going to take me back after this, are they? People are more valuable than machines. He's trying to cheer you up now. Training a police officer is even more costly. Badge the gun and Elvis. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything. This is a fourth thing you've lost. A fourth thing? More precious than the gun, the badge, and the motor carriage combined. Lost forever into the deepest seas. Well, at least I can see what's in there now. Task complete. Find the traffic hooligan. Yes, let's go take a look. Run your inventory and interact with the item by clicking the interact button and then interact. Well, we found my badge and my commander's jacket. I am apparently a commander. That's bad. Still haven't found any better pants. I really need some, like, proper black pants to go along with all of this. And a better dress shirt. Look, I'm committed to this whole looking fly thing. And these pants are the only thing dragging down this look. So let's read about this. A black uniform jacket with the RCM signature white rectangle on its right sleeve and backside. Letters inside the collar read LTN 2JFR. Lieutenant, maybe. The jacket's of exceptional quality, other than some minor wear and tear. And items. Dented stainless steel canister for transporting and storing heavy fuel oil. Logo on the side has been partially stripped over years of use. The government issued red dyed fuel oil inside. Looks like paint, but smells much, much worse. Thick blue piece of acrylic covering a thin leaf of paper with the officer's name and rank on it. Next to the writing, you see a man stare back at you, a younger version of you, already disintegrating inside, but still presentable on the outside. A police badge, on which you see the photo of a man, you. Some seaweed is stuck to the badge. Found my badge! At least something good came out of this. The lieutenant glances at the badge in your hands. Study the badge. Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information, and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see photo, name, rank, a document number, the date of issue, and in the lower right corner, your precinct. Look at the photo. The man keeps winking at you with his green-gray eyes. The photo's old, no doubt about that. How old? 8, maybe 10 years? The guy in the picture's rather good-looking. He's got a nice haircut and distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. Why do you think his face is already contorted by the expression? Although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching the light. You see the lines of information on it, and a shining watermark. Name, Harrier Dubois. Harrier. That's long for Harry. So you are Harry, he thinks. However, it was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him you're Harry Dubois didn't. Harrier Dubois it is, then. Pleased to make your acquaintance, Harrier Dubois. He's not going to call you Harrier. He'll keep calling you Officer when he's angry and Detective when he's not. The badge in your hand shines as... Okay, same thing. Rank LTN 2JFR. Lieutenant Double Yefrater. What's Lieutenant Double Yefrater? The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I'm a lieutenant. And Double Yefrater? The title of Yefrater is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank, in your case, captain. The lieutenant explains. You've declined twice, thus, you're Double Yefrater. Declined? There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's decomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors, out of respect. And sometimes, he continues, they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, and in your case, Lieutenant. Heavy-duty case-solving machine. What's a decomptage? The comptage is a hierarchical system employed by the Revachol Citizens Militia. It means counting down to twos. The countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the Revolution, which in turn was developed by last-century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein. The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are patrol officers, sergeants, lieutenants, and then captain. That's basically it, except for a few kinks. What kinks? Kinks like satellite officers and the occasional Yefrater rank I already explained. The long and short of it is, you're his superior. So you've been putting up with my bullshit because I'm your superior. The long and short of it is, you're his superior. Okay. So you've been putting up with all my bullshit because I'm your superior. No, I've been putting up with you because despite an unconventional approach, you're doing good police work. It matters more than driving your motor carriage into the sea, he smiles encouragingly. And now we've even found your badge. He trusts you, for now. Try not to spoil it. I thought my rank was drunk. Yes, apparently you've had a rather successful career in the past, and, he pauses to examine you. This leads me to believe maybe your current situation is only temporary. Thanks. That gives me hope. Good, he says with a quick smile. Turn back to the document. Serial REV126205 Jam 41. It's just a serial number. Revachol Jamrock, Precinct 41, with some numbers thrown in there for good measure. Date of issue, 7th of November, 50. 4 years ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant W. Freighter. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to have been doing well then. The case created a lot of edge you have to take off. The death march really gets us going. A lot can happen in 4 months, especially in winter. The winters are never easy on you. Of that, you're sure. Precinct 41? Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. Like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial harbor. A lot of asphalt. 41st is... He stops. What? It's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is. It's no wonder you are like you are, he thinks. But then again, a faint smile. It's a legendary district, and hell of a station, too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Price, McCoy, Berdyeva, Roberts, Furbach, and Demetri. Suddenly names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. He knew all those people, although they're not from his station. They must be big. And you? It is an honor to work with you. Don't ask him. Ask yourself. The badge? Okay, same thing. Put the badge away. No sign of the gun, and no clues. Footprints in the snow. They lead away from the accident. It seems like the walker is very confused or drunk out of his mind. Oh, that lines up with all the evidence. There's a boat tucked away underneath the tarpaulin cover. Great news, the boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position. Wait, what would I be doing under there? I don't know, sleeping? What do people do under boats? This is merely a measurement from your visual cortex. Do with it what you want. Great news, I found somewhere new to sleep. Huh? I'm gonna live under a boat now. Self-pity is not what we need at this moment, officer. I understand the situation looks grim, but we must continue with our investigation. I'm sorry. That's too easy to laugh at. I guess this is the point where you'd really start running out of money. The other side of the boat has been recently tarred. Can I get up to this? Not easily, so let's deal with everything on the right first, and then go left. Check bucket. What are these doing in all the fish?
Aye, officer.
Lillian, the net picker. A woman in a raincoat stands on the quay, considering an overturned boat. A sword and a scabbard hangs from her hip.
Anything I can help you with?
As always, I am the Lawbringer.
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything.
She waves you
So
off.
what brings you here, Lawbringer?
Thought gained, bringer of the law, Lawjaw. That depends. Where are we exactly?
A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium.
Why?
The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place.
The wind rattles her earrings. I have questions. First is, what's your name?
The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. I'm looking for someone. Maybe you can help. Let's see. She tilts her head ever so slightly. Who are you looking for? I'm looking for missing cryptozoologists. She frowns, thinking, I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? People who look for animals who are hard to find. Aha! She exclaims, like snowmen. Snowmen? Haven't heard about those. 2 odd guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. Wait, the like? Right, she says. Not only snowmen, but also green men, monkey men, burning rhinos. You get the picture. Oh, you're getting it, and it's gorgeous. Where'd they go? I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. mean that's where they're heading. She points north. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? Looking for a suspect who might have stayed in this neighborhood. Okay, when did this person stay here? Very recently, over the past few days. She might have arrived on Friday. Oh, she looks slightly disappointed. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing. So I usually start at 4 in the morning. Really? Yes, that's the optimal time. Gotta make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle and to get out there again. Sorry, I couldn't help out. A faint smile runs across her face. Maybe I can help you find something else. Let's see, not looking for anybody else. What do you do around here? Like I said, fish mostly, sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. What else? Sell fish to the people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic, insulating cuisine. Is that enough to make a living? Sometimes I also walk the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises. Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. Interesting. What have you found? Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, or other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. She looks at the beach and continues. Bottles, drugs, also lost cargo in general. But most of the time it's just wood and glass. Alright, major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It'd be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. What do you know about those human bodies? Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. She shakes her head. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already. A very unattractive bunch. Nice sword. Point to the saber on her hip. Does it come with a story? Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. She smiles at her own joke. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Hold on, do you know how to use it? Not really. She glances at the blade. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. It is imposing. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. Why do you need intimidation tactics? From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught eyes of many men, and believe me, she adds, tittering, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. Why don't more women arm themselves if it's so effective? What makes you think we haven't? She smiles. The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. They put in an act for us. Pretend like everything is good and living and shit don't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. Behold! Point to the expression on your face. Her eyes meet yours and suddenly she starts laughing. It's hoarse, as if she hasn't laughed in a while. Do you like it? Sure, her face straightens. It looks like you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield. The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast. So where are all the men now? I'm not going to take her sword. Some went to patch their wounds, their lessons learned. Others were more thick-headed. She looks down, and one of them I ended up marrying. Wait, why, if they're thick-headed? Guess I enjoyed the way he bled. Her expression doesn't change. It's hard to say if it's a joke. It is. Then why the melancholy? So where's your husband now? Gone. He disappeared. Sounds like a missing persons case. It absolutely does not. The lieutenant quietly interjects. We are not going to look for him. No, no, there's nothing to find. He's dead and lost to the waves. Oh, say no more. Wait for her to continue. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. She really liked those muscles, though, in the way she pronounces sinewy. Time really is the best cure for sorrow, isn't it? Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. She crosses her arms. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. She glances at the village where 2 little kids are playing with what looks like rocks. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids. And this is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she'd... Oh, she looks like she's ready to go on a date with another better drunk. Ask her. Both of you could really use some action. So I take it that's your skiff? Sure is. The sun, I call her. Coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Be seeing you. Hey, we found Joyce. Boat is floating freely in the water, unmoored. That's bad. Joyce. The planks creak beneath your weight. Ladder leads to a school of fish swimming in the kelp.
I'll just keep the cordially in the channel if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier.
She winds the mooring line around a post.
Hi, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way.
Of course, jetty. I prefer a good jetty to appear any day. Jetty.
Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, detectives.
She fastens the line around the post and straightens
It's
her
good
back.
to see you here. I only just arrived myself.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now. So I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
So, how do you like it here?
How do I like it?
She casts her gaze towards the village, slush melting on the cinder blocks. Construction work left, half finished 10 years ago. Water drips down eaves of eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor, the street has no name, all the men are dead or missing, and is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there?
She squints
I'm
her eyes.
surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to Martinez. Dull gray metal rests on her scabbard, a sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, madame. The RCM is on the scene.
Alright, politics time. Let's react. Real men, real politics. Real thoughts in your head. This place is doomed either way. Maybe. She leans against the railing, looking up at the gray sky. Do you know how they discovered this place? The wind picks up. Her raincoat flaps against the gust. The island? No, the Enceladian is Sola. No. I don't know how they discovered it. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 40% or 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. 45% is around where I operate. Things are getting better, though. I knew you would sympathize, she nods. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means, our home, this island of matter, or why they were ferried over here in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day, she corrects the scarf around her neck. For now, how can I assist you in this new location? Tell me now, we got time. Do we? He glances at his watch. Doesn't look like he does. I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I do not want to delay you. This story she will tell it only before she leaves Martinez, the very end of her stay. Maybe there's something else I can assist you with while you're in hot pursuit. I found my badge, by the way. By love, you did. And she inspects the piece of blue plastic, her eyes scanning from left to right. He hands it back to you. Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant Deprel Dubois. I'm glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. Seaweed drips from the badge in your hand. It smells of fish. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Yefrader? How about you share your information on the lynching, now that you've seen his badge? The goalposts have moved, Lieutenant. In the absence of a badge, I have informed my employer there will be a probe. I cannot rescind that promise, she smiles apologetically. To my knowledge, the drivers are still at the roundabout. I will tell you everything I know when you've finished with them. This is your plan all along. She shakes her head vigorously. My plan is to share information. The only way to do that now is by telling my employers you've kept your end, which I hope you will. Because, let me tell you, we are in dire waters. Meaning the information she has will raise the stakes in this game. The sooner the probe is finished, the sooner I can share crucial information with you. She takes a sip of tea. Now, is there anything else I can do for you in the meanwhile? Tea, perhaps? Do you know something about these tattoos? I think we already asked about that. This man who was killed. Okay. How is you looking at the photo tied to the lynching? Better not tie to the forestay to the backstay in this. There's something else I can help you with. She wants to answer the question. Okay. Let's see. Spoke to the lorryman. Okay, there we go. The jam mystery. Yes, my eyes are on the harbor, and I've sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? We've discovered enough to conclude, for now. Yes, and will you start an official investigation? The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. The decision should be yours. Let the lieutenant handle it. If there's an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand. Of course, detective, she says, her tone more cautious suddenly. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. Wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we'll have a bloodbath on our hands. What was that about a bloodbath? Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Revachol West. Since you're sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario. Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. Tell me again, how are the lynching and the strike connected? I have an indirect role to play. I'm sad to say, my employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a small military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. A momentary lapse of faith? They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker. A member of the board. She nods. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Do you need a security detail? Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering. Who are they exactly? Prunell, an Ornhaze military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment. So what happened? The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rangs and lynched last Sunday night. What then? Nothing. Mr. Clay refuses to let me into the harbor. I've not been able to discuss the matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Cornell contractors carry out their orders for now. For now? It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, the executions will follow. What is the nature of this so-called investigation? Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. I have to say, this is not disco. I got an achievement for that. It's very far from disco. A wave crashes against the side of her boat. My only hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, she leans against the wooden planks. If you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond. They would have to project strength and power. The debordeurs have over 2,000 men. It'll be 1,000 to 1. Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? She leans back. It's not pretty. The Ceres giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours. These men work in tandem, using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most union workers don't have guns at all. She's silent for a moment, then concludes. As I said, a bloodbath. I can't see it happen. Too many things would have to go wrong first. Too many things have already gone wrong. She looks at you, eyes damp from the wind. Lieutenant Double Year Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep that which is not from falling suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation somehow. I like how we have a bunch of extra information here that we don't actually need, because I've already pre-solved a lot of this. They said the deceased assaulted a woman. Or he didn't. He tilts her head. The information is passed on for me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. Who did the passing on, then? Remaining contractors. Their tribunal is what they believe. What do these teenagers by the canal say? That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez. This does not come as news to you, but still. He exchanges a glance with you. To your knowledge, where did this assault take place, if you know? Last Sunday night, at the Whirling and Rags. Oh, so she got it right this time, so it was probably a typo last time. Hosted by the gates. Supposedly the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, the dock workers got their hands on him. Don't mention it. And who was this woman? It's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor. About a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. The colonel, did you know, the one who was hanged, did you know him? If you mean, did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. His name was Lely. His service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. I wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. Tell me about the others first. One is a man, Cordy they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis de Paul. Cordy is the gunner, I believe, and Paul is the radio operator. Lieutenant cuts in. What do you say was his eye color, the deceased's? She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head. I can't remember. There's a pang of regret in her voice. It's all right, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age? He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. Made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions. This matches the dental reconstruction we saw of the body, and Claudia also mentioned it, I believe, he says to you. Then turns back to Joyce. What else? Nationality? Accent? It was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, mixed accent, or an Hayes, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all its own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. She nods. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. What can you tell me about Crenell? Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. St. Baptiste, Welcome Lorenz, Ian Dract. A warning sign, however, the operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries, guarding facilities, escort missions, and such. Meaning they're used to operating in war zones. Yes, all good conflict corridors. Supramundi, Yisut, the Seminoles Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military contact on their soil. Okay, anything else you got on them? Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources, she thinks. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. May take some time, though, she thinks. You know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am. In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. Would you contact the company, tell them to call them off? I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field, here. Until they do, it's all on us. She's being truthful. She's pressing them as hard as she can. Where are the remaining two mercs now? They've gone aground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. She raises a cautionary finger. For one, they're likely to be armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol Citizens Militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. Vigilantes? You're a professional officer and the only legitimate authority in Revachol. Vigilantes? The RCM gets its authority from the Coalition. Where does theirs come from? Somehow I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down. Still need to know where they are. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved. Those didn't fit right and didn't pass background check. Where are these mercenaries? This is so embarrassing, you have no idea. There's something wrong with your brain. Luckily, the lieutenant still has his. Ma'am, with all due respect, I've been around Martinez, and there's a giant hulk of a man in ill-fitting clothes at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to work, his heart really isn't in it. Not a terribly good actor, that one, still. And the other one, DePaul, must be in one of the 4-story buildings overlooking the roundabout. She's reporting back to you while we were canvassing the lorry drivers. That would afford a good vantage point, she nods, poised and unperturbed. Still, I hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. Okay. So I can't do that check again. I can't believe I failed that. Anyway, how much time do we have? Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience. They don't report their progress to you? Not in this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. There is a brief silence. Seagulls squawk over the bay. It's a matter of days, not weeks. That's enough for now. I'm sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there's anything else I can help you with, please ask. Now, can you tell me about these tattoos? Of course, excuse my hesitation before. She reaches over the guard wire, takes the photo, holds it in her hand. Half a minute, in silence. It was taken with a Trigat, not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There are no markings on his hands or legs. Observe the woman's expression. Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. What do you think? Sorry, she breaks her concentration. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars, she points to one on the photo paper. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have any letters, numbers, or anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Say nothing. Port cities. On the oceans. This is an Oranhaze map of the waterways. A sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century. As early as 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. What's the use of this map? The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die aboard or abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Where is he now? This one's flown quite far by now. I'd say he's near the Arcade Islands by now, ready to exit the Insulidian and enter the Pale. If I've read his home address correctly, she smiles. What travels did the dead man make? Quite a few. Greater Fort, the Oranhaze capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. She points to it on the photo. He started somewhere near here, I think. What next? Then he made his way to Preto Grande, although I think it must be Stadskanal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Preto, he sailed to the Insulitic Ocean. First the Semines Islands, then this. She points to his heart. What's that? Revachol, she says. Those are the two constants, Redderford on the shoulder and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of the Insulid, at the dawn of the Interstellar Age. The old world passing by and the new world already here. You said you can't read it. I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. Raiderford. Raiderford has a military academy. The Semines Islands saw a recent conflict. At Revachol, he was executed. Maybe it's a record of his military career. That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways. Just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos. For all of the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas. Who can tell me more? His platoon members, the other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. The man was their friend and comrade. I need the information. Mark it down. Ask the mercs about tattoos. Do what you have to, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you. Well, be careful, ma'am. It's all about the tattoos. Thanks for your help. That's all for now.
You're back.
I'll try
Good.
one more thing.
What can I help you with?
Okay. Nothing. So apparently you can actually just ask her for money. A lot of people told me about that, and she'll just like hand you $100 or something. I should have done that, but whatever, I'll make it by without dirty money. Even though she doesn't seem terribly dirty. I actually quite like her. I just don't trust anybody other than Kim.